Hey guys, Jack here. I've made good on yet another thread and gotten to at least part of the build on this 9.1 gallon Nano tank. This is a tank made by AquaMaxx, and I have become a very big fan of AquaMaxx. I'm now running a 12 gallon long and this 9, and I am very, very impressed with the quality of these tanks, and they look just beautiful. I'm not sure I'm willing to say it yet, but this tank might be the perfect entry-level tank for someone that wants to get into planted tanks and aquascaping and wants to take things up a notch from, a typical rimmed tank, and just start out with something that's going to look beautiful no matter where it goes. It's small enough to fit anywhere. One of the reasons I bought it is because it's a low, long, wide tank, so it has actually a lot of floor space for it being only 9 gallons. Lots of places to work with. It's shallow, so your light's going to get through really easy. And since it has kind of that shallow rim, a lot of shelving like this, you can actually still work on it. Where if you put a 10-gallon liter tank in there, typical $15, Petco, Walmart tank, you really can't work on the tank at all without sliding it out. And that's a pain in the ass, and it's not fun. I did it for a little while till I got some other stuff taken care of because I wanted a couple 10s to work with for some shrimp. But this is so much better looking, and it works so much better. There are no fish in here yet. There are going to be shrimp in here, I think, today. They're supposed to come in. Neon yellow back shrimp. They should be awesome in here, and they should pop really well. Those rocks are going, I don't know if they're going to stay there or not. If they do stay there, they're all going to get coated in maramino moss. If you look right here, that's what I did with this one, and I glued that little piece of Anubias, cutting off of one of my other plants on the back of it. This is something I'm going to start doing with Anubias more, is gluing them to the back of weighted objects like rocks and then coating that rock with like Java moss or what have you. But the really cool thing about doing this, everybody says Anubias doesn't really like to be in substrate. Anubias actually loves to be in substrate. What it doesn't want is the rhizome in substrate. The roots that come off, it loves substrate, and it will grow really well for you in a good quality substrate like we have here. So when you do this approach, basically you're able to weight that Anubias, hold it exactly where you want, and put that rhizome flat on the top of the substrate, and from there it knows what to do. It'll drive those roots down in there and start taking nutrient that way. Little dwarf sage back in there. The Anubias does have a little brown on it. It got a peroxide treatment before it came in here. Ambula in the back. I don't know if we'll stick with that. We know how fast that grows, so it'll be a lot of maintenance. A little sword there. Some rotala. My hope is to kind of get a big clump of rotala here, and that pearlweed, and I've got several places I'm working with pearlweed and trying to get it to carpet. I think eventually we will, and I think it would be really nice if we got the pearlweed to carpet in between these rocks coated with moss. I may do like the back two, I might push that one back and do some Java moss back there, and then the front two do them with the Manmino moss ball moss. But that's just really cool. And the thing I actually wanted to do this video for today, though, is to point something out. Sometimes smart people fail to see simple solutions even when it's right in front of their face. Because you've probably been sitting here the whole time going, why does that dummy have that ugly piece of Lexan sitting there on top of that tank? And some of you see the water movement, you go, I know why he's done it, but it still looks like crap. So what are you going to do about it, Jack? So what we got, the sponge filter running there. And even with this Ahim 200 back down is as low as I can run it right now, it is blowing enough bubbles hard enough that if I don't put this little thing on here, it shoots water on all this wood, and eventually it's going to cause failures and problems. So why that's happening is that this is a shallow tank. So that sponge filter, it's not only just a shallow tank, I like thick substrates. So there's about 2 inches of substrate there. So that top, if you look at it, it doesn't have much distance from the surface. So those bubbles got a lot of ass pressure when they're coming up there. And if you run those filters deep, and they barely spray. Let me put this back on there before we make a mess. It's my office, I'll have to clean it. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and then it occurred to me, well, the damn things aren't directional. They don't care. So I didn't want to do it this morning and get all wet. But the next time I work in this tank, all I'm going to do is just flip it upside down, so that the bottom is at the bottom, and then the bubble column has all of that distance to travel before it breaks the surface and kind of slow it down a little bit. I know that doesn't make sense because it doesn't actually slow it down. All I can tell you is when it's deeper, it blows less out of the surface, because the 210s over there, they don't have that problem. There's no overspray happening over there at all. So we'll make that change. And I just kind of wanted to point that out if you ever end up in that situation. The other thing we got here, a little internal filter, and it's running okay. We got some bio rings in there and a little piece of sponge, a little piece of Fluval sponge instead of those stupid inserts they come with. I have one of those in my 12, and it crapped out already. So we'll see how those things go. I get a return on Amazon. They got a new one coming for the one out there, and we'll see. But it seems like you put these things in, they have a decent amount of flow, and they just decline, and they just really hardly move water at all. You know, it's not much to it. I took it apart, cleaned it out, sprayed out the impeller and everything, turned it back on, and it just ain't got no ass. So we'll see how that works out. This one's running as good as it did the day that I put it in. It's been there a week, so far this one's not having that problem. It's also not moving any fish poop or anything through it yet, but that'll change today. Anyway, guys, just thought you'd like to see the latest little project. Nano bowls are still looking good. All the fish are still alive. I want to throw a little shout out here about this Carib Sea EcoComplete substrate. I keep seeing people making comments online about how I used it and it killed my tank, it killed my plants, it killed my fish. Substrate doesn't kill your fish. Not taking care of your shit kills your fish. These bowls are set up. I've got fish swimming around in them, white clouds and what have you in there. They don't even have a filter, okay? If your fish are dying, you're not taking care of them right. Don't blame Substrate. Jack out. We'll catch up with you later.